Happy International Women's Day, everyone. How it is versus how we think it should be. This is all about busting stereotypes. And I thought it appropriate to do on International Women's Day. Why? Because so often women are presented in literature, in movies, as being a certain way, right? Wanting certain things, presenting in a certain conventional body, fashion, hairstyle, reaction, etc. And that is what it does is reinforces stereotypes. It also isn't that interesting. So as writers, we're really up against a lot of convention in our characters, and we need to bust it apart. So I'm just wanting to look today to three women writers that I have admired through my lifetime. I have admired so many women writers. I just doing a little drop in the hat here. Number one, Judy Bloom. I grew up in the 70s and I read lots of Judy Bloom. And one of the things I think that Judy Bloom did, which was pretty radical for the time, especially as a young reader, is she busted apart the shame, the bodily shame that came with being a girl in that era. So with her book, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. This young girl she's prepubescent and she's speaking to God, asking for her breasts to grow and her menstrual cycles to begin. And I couldn't believe I was reading my thoughts on the page because I had seen them nowhere else. So she is a definite big influence for me. The second one, and it's kind of along the same line, is Alice Munro. Alice Munro, when she writes, as I became a mother and then I started reading Alice Munro, I would read some of the thoughts that her characters would have, and I was like, oh my God, I've thought that and I've never said it. I've barely articulated it to myself. And there it is on the page. So as I started reading Monroe, and I was beginning to write around the same time, I worked toward penetrating a deeper truth, getting away from how I thought the characters should be to how they actually are. So the third writer is, of course, for me, Virginia Woolf. And whether or not you appreciate her work, she broke a lot of ground for women in literature. And one of my favorite books, I love most of her work, but this is a real fun one. It also is hugely challenging to gender roles because Orlando, the character, Tilda Swinton playing Orlando, I didn't see the movie, but that's the copy I have. The character Orlando begins life as a man, and then about a third and a half away into the novel falls asleep for like a week and wakes up a woman. So lives this life, very long life, spanning centuries, as a man and then a woman. So has this dual perspective of gender and convention, and kind of from the inside out busts it apart. So how does your story challenge gender roles? How does your story, how do your characters challenge convention? It's worth asking. It's worth challenging these conventions, breaking them apart, because that is how we dismantled the patriarchy.